children that are full-time in college or those children who are working full-time on a job. All others should be enrolled. And we provide them with a stipend, and I had proposed the minimum wage or something less than the minimum wage, because the caveat to it is we are going to provide them with housing on barracks or on base or in a particular part of town that the government owns, a complex. And maybe even as part of their contribution, they make sure that they keep the facility and the environment clean, et cetera, et cetera. But you can think about it almost as a transition from teenage years almost into adulthood, a rite of passage, if you will, where you give them some of those soft skills and hard skills that they're going to need, some degree of education in a specific area, but more focused on soft skills than hard skills. Because if they wanted to learn hard skills, they could have gone to UB, they could have gone to BTVI, and maybe they were not educationally up to snuff to get in those institutions. And so they get a reset even with this program. Maybe we introduce some type of GED type element to it to make sure that by the time they leave at 20, they are fit and functioning members of society with a future. And so another solution that I would like to offer the audience for their consideration, in my humble opinion, is to focus on the younger ones. We know statistically, the ones mentioned in the Global Health Report that we began the program talking about and amplifying are the students between the ages of 13 to 17. We know that we lose, especially our boys during that age, whether it's they're going through their challenges of adolescence, whether or not this is the highest opportunity for gang involvement, whether or not this is the most acute time in their lives when their father not being present is the most problematic for their development. Whatever it may be, I believe that we probably need to reconsider not single-sex education, but single-sex instruction. So the girls and the boys may be in the same school, but not in the same classroom. Maybe the introduction of more male teachers would be another thing for us to consider. And the program that I would like to see, however, introduced for 13 to 16-year-olds would be a focus more on soft skills. How do you handle conflict, for example? How do you deal with divorce? How do you talk to a girl? How do boys, what's the level of decorum that boys should exhibit? I think we have young men in certain places and spaces that don't know how to approach a lady. Either it's because it's of shyness or because just the tone and tenor with which they speak to a young lady is off-putting. So how do we get to those things? How do we deal with managing anger in our young men, which is a big precursor to violence? How do they deal with those particular matters? And another one that you could think about is how do we get them to plan for their future, and some basic principles around financial management even. So those are just some of the elements that I think would go a long way in assisting us in trying to divert as many of these fragile minds and hearts away from a not so bright future. You know, I always, when my mom and I get together and chat periodically, I say to her, successful adults are no accident, just like unsuccessful ones are. And that's because I believe we raise children to be good people, or we raise them to be bad people, or our absence allows the bad to take more predominance in their life. So those are my suggestions for the policymakers, as you say, the church, the civic organizations to consider as potential solutions to some of the ills that plague us. Caller, you're on the air. You're on with Glen and Garvin. You're listening to Guardian Talk Radio. Caller, you can call back. I didn't cut you. Go ahead, Brother Glen.
No, I do think, I see life, Garvin, through what I call the cycles of life, right?
Okay.
That cycles are hardly reversible, right? And when you have these opportunities to begin afresh, then you take advantage of those opportunities. The Bible talks about children in this context. It says children are like arrows in the hands of a mighty man. And that means you must be pointed. That means you must be deliberate. That means you must be intentional. as you rightfully mentioned, that the results we see today can be traced to the pointing of the generation before.
Yes, yeah.
And the extent to which we would have lost the point of reference, the extent to which we lose a sense of community. Growing up in the island, when Glen did something wrong, I got that about 7, I probably could use this language, that was about 7 cut behind for me before I get home, right? And so they didn't have any telephone to call my parents.
Yeah.
But somehow my parents knew by the time I got there, so that became the 8th one that I got. And that's not advocating constant beating. The point I'm making is that there was a sense of community. And so I do believe that the Bahamas, having celebrated 50 years, should have been around the table to say, what kind of nation? Where did we go off track? How do we get back there? And I go right back to what you said earlier. What does this new construct of community looks like, family look like? Education has to be an important element of that. So I do believe that when you have our streets crying out in the manner that they're doing, when you have young men reaching age 18, and the other day with the shooting through Ridgeland Park, that those are not just the earth saying to you we're in a mess, right? But how do you not use those moments? I think the other day the person just went before the court who was responsible for the young girl, I think someplace off South Beach there, right? How do we not take these moments to say we have to put politics aside, to say we have to put this sense of well, that's somebody else's problem. This is our collective responsibility. And I do think that moments like these requires all of us to bring to the table what we have to reshape the nation. Other than that, we run the risk of seeing the report that was released even becoming more worse. And that's a sad state if we don't use this report as a means to say this is an opportunity for us to turn it around. I don't know how to deal with it other than everybody saying this is a moment to come around the table, lay aside whatever our prejudices are, bring the science, bring the spirituality, bring the sense of governmental policies, and let's begin to reshape what the next generation of Bahamians will look like.
All right, let's go to the caller. Caller, you're on the air. You're listening to Glen and Garvin on Guardian Radio. Good afternoon.
We're doing pretty well, sir. Yes, sir. Boy, you call me with all my names. That sounds like one social service man, huh? We're doing well, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, I'm on with my friend, the G&G day, you know. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Jay,
You're breaking up. You may try to get in a better spot and call us back. Caller, you're on the air with Glen and Garvin. Caller, you're on the air. Caller, you're on the air. All right, so let's go to some of these text messages, Glen, that have come in.
Just before you do,
Sure,
I was about to, if Pastor James had, if his phone didn't break up, I was about to say you should call him in and let him tell you how to raise 3 boys, all the same age, 3 schools, and all of those different things at the same time.
All right, so this was from earlier. This texter is responding to Cleaver's contribution. Cleaver is absolutely right. As a man, I had to take it to the courts to ask for access to my kids and not be just a financial contributor. Next text. We as a people must learn our history as black people. Slavery has done a number on us, and we must heal. Love is what we need. Garvin, great show. National service needs to be up to 21 years of age, and it's an opportunity to socialize and inculcate Bahamian mores into these young people. Give them a purpose nationally and make them positive contributors. I have no difficulty in increasing it by an additional year. Great contribution and perspective. Garvin, this is what I meant by digital slavery. Most children are spending too much screen time. We as older people must be mindful of the pros and cons of this technology, and that it will not save humanity, but rather destroy us via social re-engineering. These young, fragile minds, we are on the verge of a more predominantly godless world, believe it or not. And then the last text that I'll be able to read is good show. My opinion for eradicating delinquency among our black boys and girls is by incorporating regimental training and discipline in the young adults fresh out of school. 2 years of national service, and after that should be properly socialized by them. And if they break the law, punishment is severe and guaranteed. No more consultants and community programs and praying because it's not working. My focus is on severe punishment if you break the law after that. Thank you, texters and callers. Let's go. Let's get these last few calls before we wrap up. Caller, you're on the air with Garvin and Glen. Okay.
No. I was about to share your story, man. I was telling Gav, to get you in the show so you could tell us how to raise 3 boys, 3 colleges, and all at the same time,
I love it. I know that's right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, my brother.
Bless you,
You have
man.
a great day,
All the best. All the best, Bishop.
Caller, you're on the air. I'm fantastic. How are you today? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. 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 I do, my friend. I do. Mm-hmm. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. You'll have to be the last word of the day.
Have a good day.
As we say, where there is no vision, the people perish. Fantastic show, Glenn. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, callers, for your contributions. As always, you kept the discourse at a very high level, and I'm always proud of you guys. Until tomorrow, this is Guardian Talk Radio. You were listening to Garvin and Glen on Guardian Today. Have a great afternoon, everybody.